Hey, Loco Sports fans, welcome to a Saturday night edition of the Loco Sports Lowdown. We got high school basketball tournament updates for you to let you know what went down today and what is coming tomorrow, as well as just some other odds and ends. And we're all checking out some football games on TV today, of course. And Max Araj has just entered the fray. There he is. So we got Justin Jarrett, Max Araj, and Marcus Walsh with you, and we'll be possibly joined by others as the night goes on, but we'll see how it shakes out. No promises. Oh, Max has disappeared. He's having some technical difficulties as he looks to join us. But Marcus, how you doing, buddy? It's been a busy day on the local hoops scene, and of course on the national football scene. And I
Yeah,
know
for
we all
sure.
been getting around town a little bit. I know you checked out
Yep.
some hoops out at the Holiday Classic. We'll talk about that and set the stage there. But how you been,
Yeah,
man?
doing
In the 24 hours since we last
since the
chatted.
24 hours. I'm good. I like you needed a day to get a little extra sleep and kind of recharge. I didn't mention this yesterday, but I will just because of the time of year it is and people working and whatnot. Um I was having a little bit of back trouble, lower back trouble, nothing major at all, but with family out of town and a lot of stuff coming up, I thought I better go get this checked out. So Sam and I went to the Bluffton urgent care place.
Mhm.
And I was there for about 2.5 hours, and it turned out essentially the doc that was there that we've seen for a couple of things of hers that we got to go for just on a whim and whatnot, saw me, and he said, I didn't even think of this, but he said, what you could have done certainly is essentially like cracking a knuckle, which is
Mhm.
very common for folks to do,
Yep.
but in your back, because I
Oh
because I
yeah.
told him, I said it
Mine's all
felt
cracked
like
up all the
it
time.
felt like something popped down in my lower back, and I'm in a little bit of pain, but it's nothing like
Go see
major.
my
Like
buddy
I know
Ambrose Cole over
I
at
know I can stand up and whatnot, and maybe I should do that. I definitely plan on getting back into a little bit better shape in 2026 for sure. He said, but essentially
Rooted
that's what
Living
you did
Wellness. I can't recommend them
for
enough as
for
far as
sure.
chiropractic
Um,
goes.
things things are good though. I'm pain free and
Good deal.
happy about that. And thanks to the fine folks over there. And I've been one to say it, and I probably haven't done it quite enough for myself. But if something feels funny, go at least get it checked out because I was not overly anxious, but just a little bit. I was in a pondering state of mind. What could this be?
Well, I
Hopefully
mean,
nothing
let's
bad.
be
And
real.
and sure
It's a
enough,
scary proposition in the healthcare world that we all live in.
right.
It's a scary proposition. Sometimes you just don't want to know because if you find out it's something that's going to
Something
cost you
serious.
your whole life savings and then some,
Yeah.
like maybe I'll just power
That's
through it. So we got to do something about that on
there's
a much
yeah.
higher level
I
than we can handle here on the Loco Sports
I,
Lowdown.
I
But
definitely agree.
no, I like
Um
you. I
so
spent a good portion of the time since we were last together sleeping. Caught up on and wiped out some of that sleep deficit. Woke up feeling good. Took my son over to Barber's the Low Country for a great cut from Mikey from Baston in
little Mikey, I'll probably
the
see him on
packing lot.
Tuesday.
I got to hear him say packing lot, and that's when I
Yes.
knew he was real
The
Boston.
pack the car.
No, good experience over there. We had a good time. And then I went over to Battery Creek and checked out that championship game. May River holding off Bluffton in overtime, and Max Araj was on the call along with Javon Livingston on Beaufort's Own. So we'll check out the highlights and talk about that a little bit more when those guys get in here. Wes sitting out tonight. He
Yeah.
mentioned last night he was feeling a little under the
Very
weather,
under the weather, it seemed
taking
like.
the day off today. So it sounds like he's come down with something. So we wish him
Yeah,
well and hope
absolutely.
he gets well soon and can jump back in here because nobody cares more about this stuff than Wes, man. He loves
I
high school sports in the
He
local
sure
scene.
does. There's no question about it. And I, with that kind of rest and relaxation after getting back home Friday, yesterday, I was a little bit tired when I joined you guys last night myself, but well rested and got out to Hilton Head today. Saw the Hilton Head doubleheader with the guys playing first. It was kind of funny with the guys playing in the auxiliary gym, and then I
Right.
went over to the girls game in the main gym, and it was like 5 minutes in between. So I had just enough time to get over there and start getting going with that. Um, I was definitely more interested in what the guys were going to do because of the fact I hadn't seen them yet. The
Right.
girls looked really good, I thought, again, a week and a half ago when I saw them against Battery Creek at home in that auxiliary gym. Um, Today was a bit of a struggle, though, for them, and they've been playing a lot. They unfortunately got beat big, 57-20, and I turned
Against a
over.
really good Sumter team, yeah.
Yeah, I turned over to Sam and I just said, the girls just look flat. They look flat today. And then I found out how much they had been playing during the week. And you stated it right there, JJ. I didn't have a chance to take a look at, stats on Sumter or anything else, but they are a doggone good
They're
basketball team.
very good.
They are absolutely on fire. The intensity reminded me a little bit of what I've seen. And again, I've seen limited teams so far this year, but the intensity of their team, especially on the defensive end, they were always a step or two ahead of Hilton Head at least in that game today. It reminded me of what I've seen in May River on the guys'
The
side.
boys, yeah.
Yes, because they just found ways to make plays, and certainly crisp passing, uh, really good shooting. They had a bunch of players that got in with twos and threes. Really, in a way, it reminded me, and it was a good guys game too that I saw earlier in the day. It reminded me of how the Hilton Head guys played. And
Mhm.
they had a huge 69-46 win over Denmark Olar, who had some players in their own right
Yeah,
putting some points up,
that's a pretty
especially
quality
William
squad.
Ross, number 23, Christian Rivera, number 0, Demarcus Wheeler, number 1. Christian Collins didn't do much on the offensive side, but he hustled for sure. Markel Rivera, Naheem Williams, all getting into the action. Dylon Hammonds at the end getting into the action, but Hilton Head's guys team looked quite good. Obviously, what a job Derek Renajetsky's done, and obviously his dad is very heavily involved in that basketball
Yeah.
program with the fact he coaches the girls. But I saw pictures on Facebook and whatnot of him literally getting off the football field and, of course, going right into basketball, which is what
Yep.
those football players that play basketball do. Doesn't matter what team it is, that's what they do. And he ended up having himself a fine game. But the star, in my opinion, of the game for the guys, and they had a few of them, Tajay Wright was really good, but the star of the game was Kevin Chisholm. And I actually saw his dad and was talking to him before the game even started. And I looked at him and he said, "I'm Kevin's dad." And I said, "Did he play Gator football back in the day?" He said, "He sure did."
You're like, I knew that
And
said
I
that
said,
name
I
before.
knew that. And then he looked at me, he said, "I love what you do with WHHI and all, but your voice definitely sounds very familiar." I said, "I called him back in the day
Yep.
when he was starting." So I was able to
Yeah.
talk to his dad a little bit too.
I love
Um,
that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Making the connections. There's
Hmm.
nothing better. Um,
Well, and
so
just seeing the kids that were playing, like they were
that
little
too.
kids playing back then, and now they're these full grown adults out there making plays in high school. I mean, that's the dream
Right.
when you start in youth sports is to someday play for your high school because nothing beyond
Yeah.
that is guaranteed. But
Correct.
everybody can achieve that if they put their mind to it. And so for them to see them actually succeed and I mean, I saw a bunch of kids I coached in baseball and stuff growing up out there playing basketball tonight in that May River Bluffton game, and it's a cool feeling, man, to see
Yeah.
those our kids grow up and become young adults who are out there representing their town and their school. It's amazing, and then to connect with the the families and see how it just links us all together. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful thing.
For
Um,
sure.
but didn't mean to cut you off there. But
No,
yeah,
it's
Seahawk
all
boys
good.
looking good, and that Denmark team, I looked it up. They did graduate like their whole starting five from last year, but they're the type of program that reloads.
Yeah.
And we'll see them. Hardyville will see them coming up in region play
Probably pretty
um,
soon.
So
I mean,
yeah, and we're off to a 2-0 start. So we got big ideas now. We're thinking big over there in the Ville.
that's the one thing about the Hilton Head girls too that I want to make very clear as well. For as good as they looked against Battery Creek, this team may have some growing pains because they did
Yeah,
They still have a lot of the core talent back, but they lost a lot due to
yeah.
graduation.
And they lost a little bit out of their program to JP2 as well. They had a couple of kids, a couple of those kids were in their program and are now at JP2 that like Dominique and them that are really solid players.
Yeah, of
So I mean they're filling in, and that happens. You have kids that leak
course,
out, and you got to fill in.
and that's a
But
great point
I,
too.
I think they'll be pretty competitive in that region though, because
I
May
agree.
River's pretty down this year, Bluffton's pretty down this year. Bishop England will be good, Buford will be good,
I think
and
Buford has a
then
chance on the girls' side to be real good.
yeah, they do, and Colleton's sneaky good too. I think you got to look out for them as well. But that fourth spot seems like it's kind of up for grabs, and I think Hilton Head will be right in the mix with Bluffton and May River for that, if not a little more. So, it's results or wins and losses are one thing early in the season, but certainly there's more important things that coaches are looking at as they try to develop their team
Right.
for region play. Some of these teams are pretty well-oiled machines. You kind of know what you got and what everybody's role is, but a lot of them are still very much a work in progress at this point, and you're trying to see which combinations work well together and who can really produce what when the lights are on. So
Yeah.
these tournaments are really important because playing 2 or 3 games in a row is really a chance to kind of to put your kids under a little pressure and see who can handle it and start to formulate what your rotation looks like going forward. Um, so these are big times, and you find out who's committed. I mean, you don't have to go to school. It's a little bit harder to get to the practices and stuff like that, and you just kind of find out who really wants it, and that's an important thing to know too, because you got to want it, especially when the game's on the line.
No doubt.
Show brought to you tonight, as always, by our all-star sponsors, Mickelson Law Firm and WHHI TV. Mickelson Law Firm been with us since the beginning. Our first sponsors, still our biggest supporters. They can help you with all your legal needs. Our official real estate closing attorney and presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage, Mickelson Law Firm, right in downtown Bluffton. And WHHI TV, our partner in local sports. We're always teaming up to let you know what's going on in the sports scene around the Loco. Got Marcus riding shotgun with me tonight. They always lend him out to us to cross promote our coverage of local sports, and we're both all about celebrating the successes of our teams and student athletes here in the Loco. So
No
we
doubt about
appreciate their
that.
support. So yeah, setting the stage. Seahawk Classic. The girls are into the consolation bracket now. They'll face Hart County, Kentucky tomorrow at 1:30 in the Aux Gym, right?
That's right.
And guys at the same time taking on West Lawrence, Georgia,
In the main
which
gym.
lost its game. They played
Yeah, I
the
thought that
weird
was
16 bracket.
very
They played the
strange.
loser of game two. So they've got a nice path to be able to get to the championship game on what's that, Monday? They play the championship.
Monday. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
wish I
they'll be
could
in the
be in two gyms at once, but I can't.
right. Yeah, it's
I
one
think
of the
I'm going to
few
see.
tricks that we've been able to pull off.
Yeah, I think I'm
That
going
have
to see
not
the
been able to pull off.
guys tomorrow at 1:30, and we'll see how
That's the
the
move.
girls shake out. I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you slide over there at halftime and check in on it maybe, and maybe they're a little off sync, so you get to see a little bit. But you got to check out the guys. They won their first one. They're in the championship bracket. It's been exceedingly rare for Hilton Head to win this tournament, so you really got to check them out until as long as they're in position to do that, I think.
Yep.
And that'll be the pretty much the only game in town tomorrow on Sunday. It's going to be
Yeah.
a quiet day, quiet before the storm though, because Monday it's going to fire back up a little bit with a few out of town tournaments, and then we'll have the break, I guess. But then we got Bobcat Classic coming out of the break, boys
Right.
only. This excuse me, boys only this year, but a whole bunch of Loco on Loco matchups. I know Hardyville taking on HHCA.
I
Looking
will
forward
check
to
that
that
one
one.
for sure.
Should be some good ones over there. And Coach Gabriel was lamenting that the girls decided to go out of town this year to me earlier, saying he was hoping they could have boys and girls again, but they couldn't quite make it happen. So
Gotcha.
just guys this year, but we'll enjoy getting in the gyms after Christmas and checking that out. Max has been trying to join us. He seems to be having all sorts of issues with the connection tonight. But he was going to tell us more about the game over at Battery Creek today. But real quick, while we're waiting on him, let's check this out. I got some highlights from the Ville last night. I told you that we beat Bamberg to get to 2-0 in region. It was tight down the stretch. I got a few clips from down the stretch. There's Malachi with the three to give us the lead after Bamberg had rallied to take the lead. And I got to give this team some real credit because early in the year, they had a hard time closing out games and they let a couple get away. Oh, Bamberg guys were getting a little upset with our student section there. But not these last two against Ridgeland and then against Bamberg. Both times we had a lead going to the fourth quarter, let it get away, and then picked our heads up and went and got it back and closed it out. So much credit to Coach Toomer. He's a great leader, great track record in Jasper County. He's a Morehouse man, and he's really got them bought in, and they're playing good ball. I'm exceedingly impressed. There's a three from Bamberg, no good.
Yeah,
Uh,
he definitely had some great moments, and beyond that, when he was at Ridgeland or
yeah,
Richland, Hardyville, as it was known back then,
yep.
and I got to cover him several times in my days, doing basketball before all the switching with realignment. Um, Great coach and a great leader of men for sure.
No question. He's
Going to do
got the
great things
boys
for you guys.
playing good ball and sitting at 2-0 in region. And I was going to look up who they've got coming out of the break. Obviously, going to be at the Bobcat Classic next week. So be able to catch them there and they'll be able to continue to kind of hone in on what they got. They're sitting at 4-8. You know, they had some tough sledding early on, but they've turned it around and won three in a row now. And got Bobcat Classic, and then come out of the break with Allendale, big region game at home on the 9th. Then May River at home on the 10th. That's a challenge. Then we
Yeah.
go to Denmark on the 13th, which will be another huge region game. If we can win those two, we'll be sitting 4-0 in the region and have one on everybody, and that would be huge. And it feels like feasible the way we're playing right now. You can see not a whole lot of height on this team. Kyron Jameson is probably the closest thing to a big, and he's a freshman who really plays more of like a point forward type role, but can go bang down low. You can see him there, 21, banging with a big man. But we got a lot of quickness. We pressure like a Jasper County team traditionally has. Active on defense, and if the refs are letting you play, we'll get pretty physical. So it's been fun to watch. It's a chaotic brand of basketball at times in 1A, and that's
Yeah.
fun. But that's a nice move by Kyrell Jameson Jr. His big little brother helping him up there. Tukey Green has been really a pleasant surprise as far as being able to score the ball. He's a tough kid. We knew he'd be that, but he's scoring the ball at a pretty good rate. Kamari is finding his role, making plays on defense and adding athleticism and energy everywhere. And then some guys are kind of growing into their roles. Malachi making that big three. Jamarion Robinson, I thought, had a good game last night and made some heady plays. And they're playing good help defense and keeping their heads. That's the biggest thing, is just keeping their heads down the
Yeah,
stretch. And,
absolutely.
that comes from buying into your coaching staff and hearing what they're having to say. And these guys are able to pull out a tough one. You got to get out to the Ville sometime, Marcus.
I will have to for sure.
There's nice transition work. Kyron with the finish. And that was pretty much going to do it, I think.
Speaking of the Ville, I happened to talk to our buddy Jeff Riley for a couple minutes today,
Oh
I was on
yeah.
my way getting some notes for my day at Hilton Head, and Jeff called me on the phone, and he's already enjoying Boston, but he'll be there until you guys start back up with school, visiting home, and
Yep.
wanted to check in. So I definitely appreciate that, Jeff. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
and you keep it on, Jr.
Yeah, man. He came to school the other day as cousin Eddie from from Christmas Vacation. Max has finally made it in after several false
Yeah,
starts.
my laptop is being a what's the word I'm looking for? A pain.
Yeah. Well, we
So
got another
I'm
friend
trying to get
joining
it
us,
going.
a guy you may be a little familiar with after the last couple of days, Max. Javon
Yeah.
Livingston joining the show. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing
Doing great,
good.
man.
Checking out some highlights from last night in the Ville, where Hardyville came out on top against Bamberg, gets a 2-0 in region,
Yeah, I saw
going
that.
into
I
the
saw the
Bobcat
Hardyville
Classic.
tag. Doing good with the media page. I saw Misa. The first thing I said to Misa when they the first thing I said to Misa when they dropped when he got the job, I saw him at Well Branch because they played Well Branch of football right after, and I said, "You guys got to change your media page, man." I said, "I can't tag you guys in post because it's like a personal page, so
Yeah, that was
you guys got to get
Rayleigh.
the
I don't
business
know.
page." Yeah.
Rayleigh did that, and I was like, "Why did you make it a friend page, bro?" But
Yeah.
yeah, Misa's got us up and running on a number of fronts, including you're going to be able to subscribe and watch live streams from the bill soon. That'll be available for our families, for free, but subscription for others, so we can raise a little bit to cover the costs. And we're starting to come up, coming up in the world out in the Ville. So I invited Misa to
It's
join us
necessary.
tonight, but he's staying a little bit busy these days, so he might be catching up with family
Yeah,
tonight.
that new
But
responsibility he got now.
yeah, man, he's doing a great job. He really is, and he's bringing in coaches who are putting programs in place that are going to make us better down the road. So, but you guys were busy out there at Battery Creek this weekend. Not every game was the best of games, but there were some good ones, and the finale tonight was terrific. I got the highlights queued up here if you guys want to talk while we check it out, but. May River got up big first half, and then kind of played not to lose for a little while. Started trying to milk clock and stuff, and Bluffton chipped away, and got it to overtime. But the Sharks able to pull it off in the end.
Yeah, one of the things I brought up to, Max, and we kind of touched on a little bit is that, sometimes with tournaments, you just kind of seed it in and you don't know, who's the
Yeah,
best and who's really good. And so the farther you go in the brackets, whether it's consolation or championship, you start to get, better matchups because those teams are
right.
more closer to each other. And so
Yep.
that's what it wound up being. And I think, I pointed out that first preparatory, they played their first game without, one of their key guys. And we noted on the stream that he was a 50% 3-point shooter. He didn't shoot it at a high clip, but, he could have used
And
some
they
help
had
in
a
that,
dude put
the
up
game.
40 against Bluffton, right?
Yeah, I think McLeod,
Yeah.
Robert McLeod, he went off and he carried their team. And, for them, I think while they still played well and they won that consolation bracket, I think once they got that first loss and they realized they were out of it, I think they were just kind of coasting through because I didn't see that same
Yeah.
kind of tenacity from the rest of their team.
Yeah. They came to win it.
Later in the match. Yeah.
Well, they used what they needed to. I think the rest of the way, it
Mm.
seems like they were kind of in the same tier with Bluffton and May River. Might have been a better matchup if they had played Battery Creek at some point, but it just didn't shake out that way. That would have been a
Yeah,
pretty
I
good
think that
matchup,
would be
I
good.
think.
Yeah, with Furlough back, that definitely would have been a great matchup. McLeod, he scared me a little bit at first, and then he settled down and he got it rolling, and he was lights out for the rest of the tournament. But it just seemed like they cooled out, man, and
Yeah,
they separated. May River and Bluffton came in immediately. Both had 80-point showings.
yeah,
I think it was Bluffton on the first day, May River on the second day. The second day, Bluffton played exclusively their second unit. I think the starters played like the first minute of each
yeah,
quarter, and that was it. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And they
yeah,
just ran the score back up, and they just did all second unit in that game. And I just showed how tough they were. You know what I'm saying? And so it was kind of a foregone conclusion they were going to get there. I was excited to see that May River Battery Creek. I'm a Battery Creek alum. I wanted to see how they were gonna
Yeah.
shake out against May River. But I know when I saw May River on day one, that defense, I was like,
Whew.
that is going
Well,
to be a
they
problem. Yeah,
blitzed. They
Their
just blitzed
defense is
Creek.
absolutely incredible.
yeah,
Well, and they blitzed you out of the gate with that defense, and they build up a big lead, and then no shot clock, playing from ahead. They're willing to run their stuff and run clock and play you in the 40s or 50s. So they're going to be tough to deal with because they can get up and down the floor with you, or they can suck the air out of the ball. Either one, but they played with fire a little bit tonight because they tried to shorten the game, and Bluffton was able to come back and get back in it. They've got to
and I
finish
should.
at the rim. May River's got to finish at the rim a little better. They shoot the outside shot really well, but you notice they don't finish a lot of layups. They get some putbacks and stuff, but when they drive,
Yeah,
they don't get bailed out with
outside
a
of
foul. They
major.
don't get anything. Yeah,
And outside of major, they don't. And another thing me and Max talked about, we was questioning the strategy at the end where they had the last second shot, where the last chance shot with enough time to
Yeah.
run a play. It wasn't like it was fourth. They had like 20 seconds, and they settled for a long three. But you could have drove and tried to drive. You could because you could win. You could have won with a two, and then also you were in the bonus, so you could have also went to the line and just got one for the win. You know what I'm saying? You could
yeah.
trust your guys to go 1 for 2, at the minimum versus heaving up a
They did
three,
miss a
even
lot of free
though
throws down the stretch though to let Bluffton stay in it.
they did. I mean, major went 1 for 6 and in overtime, and that was just keeping up with that. That wasn't the whole game. So,
Right.
but they had a chance before they let
Whew.
Bluffton get in the
He's
bonus
tough though.
too. And so
Malcolm Gordon was tough tonight, man.
he was the
He
MVP.
was tough. Yeah, he
Yeah.
really played well.
He was the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that game, I think I think that's the best you could possibly ask for in those two teams, And the best part is we still got 2 more games of this between these two, and so it kind of like a true, battle for Bluffton, best of 3 kind of situation now, where the
Right.
next 2 games could depend on who gets to paint the town, So it's a really cool experience to see them have a home and home, and then get this as a neutral site kind of game, So
I enjoyed it.
it was probably the best game we had the entire day,
Oh yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh, I have
But
no doubt. Yeah.
um,
Oh, it was the best game all week. There was a lot of
Yeah,
yeah,
blowouts.
easily.
So
true. Yeah, there were a lot of blowouts in the
You're taking a
tournament.
look at 2 perennial, and obviously we all speak bias because they're our area, but 2 perennial tremendous guys teams, especially here in the low country of South Carolina.
Yeah,
These 2 teams are
you know,
terrific and
and
terrifically
And I
well
think
coached too.
that's
and
what
I
I
think
was going to say is I think they both are really on the upswing because of the quality of coaching
Yeah.
hires that they've made.
yes,
Because
right.
Gabriel and Bennett both are on a little bit higher level than a lot of the coaching hires in this area over the years.
Yeah,
I mean, they really have some systems, and they really know what they're doing, and they're putting in year-round programming and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
I think both these
hmm
programs are going to be quality for as long as these guys are here. Um, and May River's the best they've ever been on the guys' side. I
No
mean,
doubt.
by a pretty good
100%.
margin.
Nothing against Matt Whitmore at all.
No, they just
But
have. I mean, they've
wow.
got 3 teams over there. They got varsity JV and ninth grade programs going.
Yeah.
They're playing system ball and they play it well. Bluffton's
Well,
got some phenomenal individual talent. They're down on depth now because Aiden McCarthy and Carnell Warren are both done for the year.
Yep.
Yeah,
They're enrolling early. They're going to play football. So
and I want to touch
they
on that too.
yeah, and we will talk about that. But I think Bluffton has a lot of upside because
well,
their
and
depth players are going to get better and better. They haven't
yeah,
been
and
getting a lot of minutes,
I
but
was
they're
going
going
to
to have to
say,
develop.
obviously, you obviously still have Harrison Skinner, but the one player that I think really stepped up for Bluffton today was Malcolm Gordon, number 5. A real
There he
solid,
is.
a real solid second half, and it was really one of the main reasons that Bluffton got back into this game was the help of both Malcolm Gordon and of course Foster, who was playing some good basketball as well in the second half. So with that, and then Harry Skinner wasn't able to do a whole lot, but I mean they were locking him up because they knew he was the best player on the floor, so they had
were
to do
riding
something
him.
to watch.
Yeah, but he hit a
Well,
huge three to get
I'm,
him into overtime.
Yes, he did.
and I'm gonna say this: the part of that was because of Luke Tran. You know, he's a quarterback, but out
Yeah,
there on that floor, he's their defensive specialist. And when I tell
He's
you,
he's a
tremendous.
he
glove.
was he's Elmer's glue right there on Harry Skinner. He was there all night, and Malcolm Gordon. You guys touched on it. He was the MVP for them in this game. That if they could have sealed it, it would have been all thanks to Malcolm Gordon. And the Aiden McCarthy and Carnell Warren thing. I think that played a difference in this game, not because they weren't there, but because they were the starters leading up to this. First 10 games of the season. And
Right.
had you not played with them through the first 10 games, maybe, the next stepping up, Malcolm Gordon and Velasquez and also those guys that fill in that spot for them, they would have been better prepared for this moment versus
I'm with
this because
you.
they played day one. They played day one.
I'm
But
with you.
you,
I think that's kind of a selfish decision to play 10 games into the season and then bail. I agree. I think the team would be better off to start the season without you if you're not going to be there at the end.
Right.
And you
and
cheated some kids out of development time
valuable
with
time,
them
valuable
getting.
time.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you take that thing in full view, they probably should have just not played. I don't understand why
Yes.
they came out and played and then left, but it is
And
what it
and
is. I guess
I don't know if
I
you
guess they got to play a few games with their boys. Maybe that was what the team wanted. Maybe the team voted for that. I don't know. So I won't pass judgment, but on the surface, it seems kind of like, huh,
The optics do not look
why?
good.
and
Yeah,
depending on how it looked,
yeah,
that's two more kids that could have been on the roster in that basketball practice over the last couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying?
yep, yep,
So you never know. Depending on how tryouts look, but for 10 games, some kids lost some valuable rep time.
yep,
And they could have been in a better position to be able to handle those moments because, especially when you take them out, your next go-to was Warren and McCarthy down low, and that really helped spread the floor for Foster and Karen. So now that they're gone, now who's your next guy? And it turned out to be
right.
Malcolm Gordon. And you got to find the rest of those guys when you don't have that 6'5", 6'4" threat in the middle.
Now
Well, and
Just standing
they got a
around.
big
They still
body in
got height.
Gadsden. Zay
Gadsden's
And
Gadsden
gonna
Cal,
is
have,
a,
yeah,
but he
Gadsden's
yeah,
needs
gonna
to
have to be
play and
there.
develop. He's got to play and
Yeah.
develop.
all
And I
right.
think he
And
will. But I mean, despite those two not being there, I mean, that was one heck of a game, especially when you have two players who you depend on,
Yeah,
who's obviously not going to be there for the rest of the season. And for them to put up a game like this, I really do look forward to the next two games
yeah.
that these two teams play.
Yeah, I kind of came away like I think it boosted my opinion of Bluffton more than anything. I thought they were really scrappy in this game, and I think they're going to get better and better with those kids getting more playing time.
Yeah.
The tournament next week is going to be big for them. They're going to need to develop that
Yep.
depth a little bit and get those guys important minutes. But it was a dead even matchup for the most part. Bluffton is a scrappy squad. They're not going to give in. So I look forward to the region season. It's going to be good stuff.
yeah,
But
and,
you guys
Most
did a
definitely.
tremendous job on the coverage. Always a pleasure to be able to, even if I'm in my car, pick it up and listen to Javon and whoever else is gracing the airwaves.
I got to
Bring us
spend
the
some time with
action from the
Tristan
gym.
too this Christmas break. So
Yeah,
that was
Yes,
awesome.
Tristan,
that was
man.
delightful to
It
hear
was great
Tristan's
to hear
voice
his
on
voice again. It was
Thursday night.
fantastic to see him back.
That was
Yeah, it was
great.
really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I miss that guy tremendously, man. He was a great man, and I felt really comfortable, giving him the reins and letting me focus on the camera work and the graphics and things like that. And made everything so much better when he was there, and it felt good to have him back. But it's unfortunate
Yeah.
he had to go make some subs today. He works at Firehouse Subs, so on part time when
Ah,
he was
there you
back
go.
home. So that's
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
where he
man, you
that's where
got
he was at.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with Firehouse Subs, dude. I
Hey,
do
you got
love
to
me
Oh,
stack
some
up
it's
good
that cash.
nah,
basketball.
I love it. I just tried that pepperoni pizza meatball sub they got there. Oh my god,
Yes,
I
yes.
just tried that, so it's good. It's
Speaking
good.
speaking truth, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, May, I was excited though. May River Battery Creek, obviously Battery Creek alum, and I'm not going to go into Battery Creek right now because they lost. But this is about May River, and I when I saw their defense, and I was wondering how that was going to shake up, and Battery Creek did play better once they settled down, but May River had that lead. And when you mentioned how they blitz you at the beginning and get up and kind of sit on it, it was the same thing. I was kind of worried about when they played Bluffton because they blitzed them early, they got up, and then they did a lot of, Coach Bennett had a lot of it slowing them down. And as the half court said, it was kind of like you put in the, when you're blowing a team out, sometimes coaches put on the three pass rule,
Yeah.
something like that. And that's kind of what
Or
happened. And
layups only rule.
yeah, you tried to run the clock out kind of down. We talked about how fast that first quarter went because it was also clean. There was only one team foul apiece,
Yeah.
And so they did that until Bluffton started to figure some things out. They started making some shots. Gordon came along and it got them back into the game, and it was too late then to go, 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 go. That lead had evaporated. But May River, I was, looking at them and, trying to figure out because there were some rumblings with some other people where you talk about May River and you talk about how good May River's been, how they've looked undefeated so far. But then it's like, well, they've played Well Branch and they've
Yeah,
played
they haven't really
Hardyville and
played
they've played,
much.
and so you kind of wonder what that looks like, even though they've done what they needed to do, which was those games by 30, 40, So they technically have played up to level, and per 32, they haven't played full games as well. So to see them play a full game to the end, I know that was good for the viewer, and I know that was good for Coach Bennett as well with May River to see what they look like if those guys play not only full game, but in overtime now at this point. So
I think they are going to struggle a little bit when they see teams with really quality bigs. They have tall guys, long guys, but they're really guards. They don't. Major's the only guy who really kind of bangs inside, and he's not too big. He's very athletic and very active in there. And he's tough, but if they face a team with a really good big, I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But I don't know when they'd see one until the playoffs. It's not like we got bigs falling out of trees around here. So
yeah, I mean, the best bigs we got would be Bluffton and see how that matchup, and it would have been better. Not to harp on it, but if those two were at Bluffton, you would have been able to see that matchup and how they would have fared. But even with Gadsden and Gordon and Calendine coming off the bench, even though he didn't play that much, they do have that height and they still have the depth. And that's one thing I looked at Bluffton last year, and I was like, geez, as far as height wise, they had those who shall not be named. Then but then they still have Gordon. They still have Gadsden. They still have Calendine, who's I think is a sophomore this season, and he's the tallest, like 6'6", I think. And he could tell he's a young player, but he's the tallest. And it's like they still have height and depth. So you want to talk about building a program? I love
he's
what
the next
coaches,
QB too, right? Calendine.
Oh, Calendine. That I'm not sure of. I didn't know that.
Well, I know Williams has been the backup for the last couple of years. Just a question
been
of
the one they've been
if
talking
he was
about
a senior.
Tones.
Okay.
So I think we may get to see what he looks like. I think he got hurt this year, but he was going to be the JV guy. But I've been hearing his name for a while, Calendine.
Okay.
And 6'6" gunslinger.
And I know you're not big on the whole max prep situation, but May River, we talk about their strength of schedule so far. It's listed at negative 3.5.
Oh no, I am. I like that stuff. The only thing I don't like is when somebody says they lead the nation in something, because I'm like, not everybody's stats are on max preps. But as far as scores and results and their algorithm, I mean, it is what it is, right? But it's some kind of metric at least. So I mean,
it's if everybody uses it, and I agree, everybody doesn't do what they need to do.
That's the key right there. Everybody's got to come together,
tool.
Put it together. Yeah. If it's used correctly, it's phenomenal.
It's the best thing. It's one of the best things out there, but everybody doesn't use it. I wish everybody got on board with max preps, like the spring season. Baseball, softball got on board with Game Changer. It's crazy. I love it because I can get live stats. There's no software for basketball and football live stats that is used.
Game Changer,
and they don't use
service.
They don't use it.
Hilton Head
Prep Boys
used it for a few years, and it was wonderful.
I want to talk to them about that a broadcaster situation. Like, hey, the team's not using it, but let me plug in the teams and the rosters so that way for the broadcast we can get live stats. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So,
Yeah.
but for baseball, it's baseball, softball. I love it because I could talk about everything, in
Yep.
depth. So,
I love it.
so it's great.
It's incredible tool. I did see some wrestling news come across. May River finished second at the hand-to-hand Hawk Invitational. I'm not sure who beat him. It must have been one of the big powers from Charleston, one of the 5As. But Marcus Folk was the most outstanding wrestler for the lightweights. He's their 132. So he must have had an especially good weekend. So Sharks looking good. Get this. The Sharks, you'll love this, Javon, as a wrestler. May River on Wednesday beat New
Oh yeah.
Hampstead
Ooh,
84 to -1.
a negative,
The power
negative.
of the
It's got
integer,
to be.
ladies and gentlemen.
It's it's got to be an NFHS record because the
Wow.
only way it can happen that you win by 85 is you get pins or forfeits in all 14 weights to get 84, and then the other team gets penalized and unsportsmanlike, gets docked a team point for unsportsmanlike. I'm told that one of their wrestlers took off his headgear and threw it after he got pinned, and they got hit for a point, so they lost 84 to -1.
That is insane.
That's craziness.
I did a double take because I thought it said 84-1 at first, and I
84.
was like, "Wait, how could they score one?" And then I realized it said -1, and I was like, "Oh, I know how you can score -1." So
Oh
Look at that.
man, that's
Oh my.
crazy.
talk about adding insult to insult, man. That's
That's
incredible.
Yes.
embarrassing as a team, as individually
Yeah,
getting splayed, man. That's
it's pretty
it's
bad.
Sorry.
But yeah,
yeah.
So
sharks are
of
looking
course,
tough.
sorry. I just have to mention I'm watching, of course, the Oregon JMU game, and of course the Duck has decided to be, goofy as the Duck is usually, and wrapped himself as a present. So he's
Oh
just
yeah, I saw
walking
that.
around as a duck wrapped as a present, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
What's the
It's
I
score
switched
there,
the Bears.
Max?
Ever seen?
I got the Packers.
Oregon.
85 deserve
Oregon dominated.
-1.
Oregon's dominating. They scored
84 to
five straight
-1.
touchdowns on drives. So they're
84 to
dominating right
-1.
now.
Yeah,
How
when they
about
got
the
27-3, I let it go. I went to Bears Packers.
how
Yeah,
about
I'm
the
on Bears Packers as
craziness
well.
seen earlier today between Texas A&M and Miami? And I didn't see
What a
any of that
weird
game
game.
because I was
Man,
pill
Max
shit.
told us to slam the over on that one last night.
Well, that's
I
what I
thought so
was
too.
thinking it was gonna
I did too.
happen.
He never
Next
answered
thing
my
I know, I
question
look
of
at
what the over
next thing
was.
I know, I look at my phone during halftime of one of our
Wow.
games today, and I just see at halftime for the Texas A&M Miami game, there's no score, and I was like, "No, this is a typo, right? There's
3
no
to
way.
3
There's
with
no score in
2 minutes
this
left.
game." I was like, well, "There's actually no score at halftime." I was just absolutely shocked.
Unfreaking real.
Shows
Yeah,
Crazy.
me 3-3 with 155 left to go. I was like, God, what?
yeah, it was
Insanity.
just unreal. And of
That's
course,
not my defensive game.
I would
Texas
say
A&M had
that
a chance to go to overtime.
the
I'm
first
a
round of the playoffs has
16-10
been
defensive
pretty
game.
disappointing.
3-3 is terrible. You said
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I said the first round of the playoffs has been pretty disappointing. Alabama, Oklahoma was good last night, but that was it.
Roll
The rest
Tide, baby.
of
I was
Row
hoping that
Tide.
that Miami game would have been a little more exciting than it
I
was.
think Row Tide's
Sure.
gonna find out who's your daddy next.
No, we're not. We're going to justify, even if we lose, we're going to justify being in. Indiana better get ready. That's what they better do.
Oh, Indiana ready.
Yeah.
I think
They
so.
ain't
I
I
think
playing
mean,
they're
that. They
ready.
ain't playing no Jan. I think they're ready because for me, for a school like Indiana, right? For a school like Indiana, you have to get the win, right? And for me,
yeah,
they beat Ohio State. And Ohio State is, for me, one of the few schools outside of the SEC that is reputable
legit.
because they've won multiple champions. So when they're good, I believe it.
Yep.
Indiana is good, but I have to believe it. And they beat Ohio State. So now I can say, okay,
Yep.
Indiana's for real this year.
I
And so
agree.
they got my respect. They got my respect.
They beat down some pretty good teams.
They
I'm
did.
impressed. I'm convinced. Mendoza seems to be the real deal.
Even though he
He's
gives terrible
corny.
interviews.
He's corny AF, but I love him. He's so corny.
Yeah.
But I like him. I hope they can take out Alabama. just to get some new blood in there. But it should be fun. NFL has my interest
I'm
more
like
right now.
I like that too. I do like new blood sometimes, and I
Yeah,
do like that's why I was upset when the way they kind of changed the high school bracket to avoid teams traveling 3 or 4 hours in the first round just to
yeah,
lose. I kind of
Yeah.
hate it, but because those first 2 rounds you get region matchups, especially in those sports where
yeah,
like basketball and stuff, where they paid 2, 3 times already in the tournament and all that.
yeah,
It gets
yeah.
annoying when you see them in the second round, but I get
Agreed.
it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I agree.
saying? So.
Yeah. All right, boys. We'll shout out to some more sponsors. Hudson Seafood House on the docks. Great spot for seafood, sunsets, cocktails, and more on Hilton Head Island. And presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. New episodes every Tuesday at the moment, although we may be shifting them over as soon as Monday Night Football ends and get them back on Monday nights. A little more calm night on the Loco Sports scene during the winter. Tuesdays stay pretty busy, but any night is a good night to head over to Hudson Seafood House on the docks. Check them out at Hudson's Seafood House
Ain't
on the
nothing beats a
docks.com.
sh- ain't nothing beats a shrimp po' boy from Hudson's, baby.
Yeah, Andrew's
Nothing.
style. I'm told
Andrew
is the way
style
to
too.
go. And if you like oysters, they got the best. We also have Twinge and Twombly, our personal injury attorney of friends in Beaufort, with the rare name and remarkable service at Twinge and Twombly and HHI Windows and Doors, improving your view of the Loco. Coach Barron, our friend from Hilton Head Prep, hung up his whistle. He's focused on a new kind of screens these days, improving your view at HHI Windows and Doors. We've also got our official wrestling sponsor, Reverence Wrestling Club. Check them out on Sundays, 11 to 12:30, open mat, just $15 for non-members. Get some time on the mat and take your skills to the next level at Reverence Wrestling Club. And if you need a haircut, Jay's Barbershop in downtown Ridgeland is the place to be, whether you need a haircut or not. There's always something going on at Jay's. Lots of cool cats over there. So check them
Yeah.
out in
By the
Ridgeland.
way,
Um,
yeah,
yes, sir.
sorry, some breaking news regarding that Packers Bears game. Jordan Love's going to be out for the rest of the game
Yeah, they're
with a
showing
head
Willis
injury.
right now.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Showing Willis heating up real
there it
quick.
is.
Hey, breaking news don't beat sponsors, buddy. I'm like,
No, we just finished with sponsors, though.
oh, okay.
So good timing. And
I
that
know when
brings
the
us to our.
sponsors finish, Javon. I know when
So
they
you got to
finish.
finish those sponsors, man.
I've done it. I've
You
been
got
on
to
this
get your
show long
plug.
enough.
That brings
I
us
was about to
to
say.
our parting thoughts segment. Javon, you're our guest tonight, so we'll let you lead us off.
Oh man, basketball's great. I'm excited to see the season. I love the competition. You guys spoke on coaching hires. I think right now we're in a good space. Obviously, I guess the old heads, the veterans in this area, kind of, with Huff and Faber, they've been there. But Coach Brown at Battery Creek, Coach Brockington at Bridges.
Bridges.
Now you have
Yeah.
Coach Gabriel at Bluffton, Coach Bennett and May River, and I'm missing Hilton Head and Hardyville. But there's just some great coaching, hires right now, and basketball looks
Right on
really,
the
really
tumor.
good. You want to talk about building programs and things like that. But
Yeah.
these are some great coaches and some great programs, and I think basketball is really in a good place. And shout out to I believe it's Alyssa Mullins at Beaufort High.
Yes.
I think she got her 100th win. And I think she went and
Yeah.
she helped them seal a deal. I think she got into the onto the mat versus the guys and won
Yep.
in a team duel and helped them out. So shout out to
Yeah,
Alyssa
she
Mullins, man.
got the
Good job.
clinching win against Battery Creek. She teched our guy from Hardyville the other night, pretty effortlessly. She's very very good. Unfortunately, Alicia injured her knee the other day in practice, and it may be pretty significant. So she will be. She's joining us, Team Loco, as an intern. She's been interested for a while, and we talked about it the other night, and she's going to be helping us with our coverage of some wrestling. But she does look like she's going to be sidelined for a while. We're not sure how long just yet, but she's a
Jeez,
tremendous talent,
that's
and she's
terrible on the hill of some great news.
yeah, man, it's really rough. I got that news, and then I chatted with her a little bit, and she said it didn't look good when she went to see the doctor, but she's got a really good attitude about it. She's strong in her
Mhm.
faith, and she really believes that whatever happens is gonna be able to be channeled into something positive. And she already has a scholarship secured to wrestle next year back up home in Michigan, and
Mhm.
she knows that she'll be back on the mat sooner or later. So she's got a great attitude about it, and she's a
Right.
tremendous young lady who is going to be resilient and come out better for it on the other side. So big shout out to Elisa. She's awesome.
That's great. That's great. I'm happy for her. You know, and it sucks because she's in the midst of a great season. Seemed like just
Yeah,
on the
she was
outside
going to
looking
win
in.
girls state for sure.
Because you know, a lot of teams, you know, they're not big on the wrestling social media.
Yeah,
But Buford High, man, Coach Peeler, I mean Miss Peeler, I said Coach,
yeah.
but Miss Peeler,
Joy's the
oh
one
my,
who tipped me off to the batting
Joy's
origin.
she's amazing.
She's
I
You know,
call her
phenomenal.
coach too. She's a coach for
yeah,
me now.
I love when I have to go over there. If I need any kind of information, it is on one source cups because ADs are all over the place and they take
Yep.
forever sometimes. You know, but Coach Peeler, I mean, it's the easiest thing to do. Just contact her. She'll tell you everything. Turn left, turn right, and you
Yeah.
name it. So I love her. So I've been keeping up with the wrestling over there. And so I saw all the great news with her and, you know, Mullins, and that's how I know all about her. And to find out that happened in the midst of what she was having a great season there.
Yeah. Yeah,
That sucks.
it's and it happened in practice. Her foot just caught on the mat and
Mm.
knee went the wrong way, and it sucks. But you know, she has the right attitude. It is what it is, and I can make of it what I can make of it. So, you know, she'll be helping us out in the meantime. She's a great photographer. She's going to work on you know, getting some video for us and coming on the show and reporting on what she sees out there. She'll be at the Shark Invitational over at May River, so she'll help us with reporting from that. But
That's good. That's
great kid.
good.
What do you got, Marcus?
Basketball just keeps on rolling. I will be at Hilton Head again tomorrow to check out the guys at 1:30 in their matchup as they look towards getting a title after the doubleheader today. And I'd been wanting to do this for weeks. Sam and I went over to Frankie Bones and
Nice.
and our buddy Nick DeSimone, and I know he does a lot of stuff
Yeah,
with you, JJ. Final day of the
my
soup.
neighbor.
Final, that's right. Final day of the soup de tour is tomorrow. And I said, I looked at the menu for weeks and I'm like, I got to get at least one of these. Well, I got the gumbo over at Frankie
Mm,
Bones today. We ended up
yummy and
splitting the
gumbo.
toasted ravioli, St. Louis style, off the hook. And then I got the gumbo, and I kid you not, and I am a gumbo fiend, both from Nolans and certainly
Wow.
here and beyond. The gumbo that I had tonight was the best that I've had outside of the Big Easy. I am not
Okay.
kidding. Smoked chicken, like right out of the smoker, sausage, dynamite, stewed tomatoes, dynamite, okra, dynamite. My mouth is watering just talking about it.
Okay. Scrimps?
Um,
You get any scrimps in
absolutely,
there?
absolutely phenomenal. No, it is without seafood. It
Just
is
a chicken
chicken
sausage gumbo.
chicken
I got you.
sausage,
I
and
like
it
it always.
is dynamite.
All right.
Ended up
Good to know.
finishing off the meal. I saw something on the dessert menu that reminded me of my family roots, and I ended up getting some spumoni ice cream and one of
Okay.
those
Yeah.
Oh
huge,
yeah.
tall ice cream uh, glasses, and
Yep.
we had a great time. I mean,
Nice.
Frankie Bones is an awesome place. They do food right down here for sure. One
And
of
you
one
got
of the
one in
many that
Bluffton and one on
do.
Hilton Head, right?
Yeah, and this is
Dealer.
this is all Hilton Head deals, I think, as far as I know, with Soup to Tour, and it ends again tomorrow. So
All
go
right.
out and get yourself some soup if
All
you're into
right.
that kind of thing.
Get you some soup. It's soup season.
Yeah.
Max Raj, what do you got, buddy?
Obviously, I had a great time today alongside Devon for the BC Classic. Really fun. Just watching some of these players, as they have grown and have improved over the last couple of years or so that I've been doing this with LowcoSports and of course Beaufort's Own. And it was a really fun day over at the creek. And I look forward to seeing. And we didn't talk enough about Battery Creek tonight. I just said, I'm really impressed with this Battery Creek team, and I have high hopes on them as they go in towards region play to start off the new year. I know it's a very tough region, of course, with Oceanside and
Mm-hmm.
Orangeburg, Wilkinson, and of course North Charleston's in the mix there as well, and always hand to hand as per usual. Always a very tough region, but I have high hopes that Battery Creek team gonna be extremely competitive in that region. I think they got the talent and the players to make that a really competitive run and potentially a good spot in the playoffs if they can when it comes around. Because I think they're worth watching. For those of you who haven't seen them, please go watch them. They're a really solid basketball team.
I agree completely. They got blitzed off the jump yesterday against May River and
If they
couldn't
didn't,
quite
if
get
if
back
that
in it,
didn't
but
happen, if that hadn't happened, I thought it
they're
was
going to
going to
be
be a
really
really close
competitive.
game.
They're talented. They're tough. That was a tough matchup for them, I think, and getting behind the 8 ball early. But they're awfully good. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I agree. And
No,
shout out to Coach CJ and the folks at Battery Creek for putting on the tournament. It's always a lot of work to do that kind of thing. It was a great event. It's an incredible venue. I love the Palace. They've done a lot of work in recent years to really upgrade the campus there and the facilities, and it's looking beautiful. The lighting in there is phenomenal.
yeah,
Like my
great.
photos look so sharp in that gym. So I appreciate that. But no,
Yeah,
it's always a good time over there. Shout out to everybody putting on the show and giving us something to do on the weekend before the
them
holidays.
hot dogs and concessions, man, are no joke. They got some
No
real
joke.
good hot dogs, man. They got some good food and concessions. I was kind of hoping they were going to run concessions today, but unfortunately
Yeah,
they didn't.
that's
So,
a bummer.
but
What do you got over there, Javon? You're deep in something.
I was like, well, somebody just mentioned Oceanside being down, and when he said Oceanside again, I already had Max Preps pull it. I was already pulling up Max Preps, and so I was just kind of looking at it. And Orangeburg, I mean, not Orangeburg, Oceanside Collegiate. Max
Oceanside.
Preps has them at 17, but they're 2-6 right now, and their strength is 9.6 on their schedule. So they've played some squads, but two and
Yeah.
six for Oceanside Collegiate is not what I was expecting. They got Orangeburg at
yeah,
4 and Battery Creek at
Yeah,
8.
but see, they beat ACA. They lost to Porter by 14. They lost to West Ashley by 8. They beat Lucy
Mhm.
Beckham by 6 in overtime. They lost to James Island by 7. They lost to Fort D by 11. They lost
So
to
they're close
Ashley
games, though.
Ridge by 21. They lost to Cane Bay in overtime. So they're playing close games against 5As
yeah.
and quality teams. I think they're going to be pretty good
What,
still. But
when they
I'm
get to 3A, yeah.
not untouchable by any means.
No, definitely not. And I don't think Orangeburg is untouchable either. I think they're going to be a team that Battery Creek can compete with pretty well. I think when region play starts.
Yeah,
So I look
yeah.
forward
I
to
mean,
watching that team.
who have they lost to? They lost to Sumter, Brooklyn Casey early. They got on a hot streak. They lost to Bowman, though.
That's
Bowman's
a shocker
tough,
there.
but they beat Woodland twice. They beat Branchville. They beat Lake Marion. Yeah, I'm not totally sold on them yet either.
No, I'm not either.
Uh,
You know,
Yeah,
I
Bowman's 7-1.
it's why I think I
Bowman's
like.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Hanahan's
Bowman's decent.
4-7. North Charleston's 3-6. I think this region may be gettable
I
this
was
year.
I think
looking at North Charleston's schedule. They played a couple of squads as well, but not so much as OW and Oceanside for sure.
No,
But
and they lost to Baptist Hill, and they lost to Burke, and they lost to Cane Bay by 30. They lost to Goose
ooh,
Creek by
Cane Bay
20.
by 30. Jeez.
Yeah, they lost to West Ashley by 11, and Burke again. They beat St. John's. They've only beaten Colleton County, St. John's, and Baptist Hill. They're very
Yeah,
beatable.
well,
So look
so they're
out, Creek
capable.
might make a run this year.
They
how
might.
good was Denmark Olar today? Denmark Olar, I didn't head. How good
They
were they?
lost to Hilton Head,
They
didn't
Hilton
they?
Head
they
beat them by
lost.
like 26,
I was there.
right?
They
Yeah,
they lost 69 to 46.
yeah.
They look good. They they got some guys that made some big shots. Demarcus Wheeler had about 6-8 points. Christian Rivera made some big shots. Naheem Williams made some big plays and some big shots towards the end. Just too much Hilton Head, and I talked about it earlier in the show. Tajay Wright and especially Kevin Chisholm, those guys, and even Trey Lewis as well for Hilton Head. Those were the three guys that really went off. Keita Smith had a great game. Bill Risher was able to get into the action late. Um,
Well,
Denmark Olar played well. They just didn't quite have enough
yeah.
due to the physicality and just the energy that Hilton had brought.
They're not what they
It
were
was quite
last
the
year.
game.
They
Yeah,
graduated like their whole starting five, basically.
what I was asking because my thing is that when I do all these synopses, like when we talk about like how good some teams could be, and Orangeburg and Oceanside Collegiate, I try to find somewhere a common opponent
Right.
thread, and so
Yeah,
it's
that's
Brooklyn
important. I do that
Casey.
too.
Yeah, Brooklyn Casey beat Denmark Olar 70-32, but
Yeah.
Orangeburg Wilkinson only lost by 3,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so.
Oldhub's a good bit better than Denmark.
So they're a
yeah,
good bit better, but that was just trying to see
Yeah.
how they match just a common opponent somewhere if any of these teams have played
Right.
head to head. So just trying to
Always
find
try
a
to thread
thread
that.
somewhere.
yeah, yeah.
As Quinn Snyder once told me in a Mizzou basketball press conference, the transitive property is great, but it's not great for predicting the outcome of basketball games.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
because
true.
because matchups are a thing. Some teams are good at something that you might
Yep.
be bad at.
Exactly.
And I tell people all the time. I said, like people are getting over the Eagles right now, and it's like, every little thing they do is kind of like a problem. What's wrong with the Eagles and things like that? It drives me insane. But even those years when Seattle, low key, if you look at their records, they lost. They were like 2-4 versus the Rams when they still had Jeff Fisher
Yeah. Yeah.
during that Legion of Boom run. It's just small things like
Yeah.
that sometimes they just match up well. You know,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Sometimes they just got your number. That's just how it goes sometimes. All right,
Mhm.
boys. Well, we brought it in. We didn't make it under an hour as I promised, but very close.
Very
We're at an
close.
hour and 1 minute. So we're going to
I mean,
call it
if
a
you hit the
night.
button.
Go check out what's happening on the TV. But we'll be back with you tomorrow night. We got the 1L Hoops Happy Hour going off somewhere around 7 o'clock, and we're going to try to get the gang together for the Loco grind as well tomorrow night around 9. So, and then we'll be back with the Loco Sports Lowdown Monday night to get you caught up on what's happening all around the Loco. So thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and thank you for showing up to listen or watch. For Javon Livingston, Marcus Walsh, and Max Araj, and get well soon, Wes Kerr. I'm
Yes,
Justin
indeed.
Jarrett. Until next time, go Loco.
Freeze.